Thank you. As a clinic manager and pro-choice advocate for women seeking a safe legal abortion in Ohio, I have worked with women and have heard their stories, have seen the desperation in their faces to be able to come to a facility where they're receiving health care that is safe, that is legal, that is performed by licensed medical professionals. These women travel from every corner of the state of Ohio. Their wives and sisters, they have families, and we already have to have them take many steps at abortion in Ohio. We already have many books that they have to follow. These women literally rearrange their lives to meet the necessary visits to terminate that pregnancy in a safe setting with medical be overturned. Imagine telling a single mother of 3 children who only works part-time and is trying to better the life that she is giving her children and providing for herself, that I cannot assist her in a safe legal abortion. I can't imagine what I would express to someone who had that choice and it was now taken away because we have elected a president that doesn't allow that or takes the steps to overturn that. Women share their stories with us on a daily basis of this was the best thing that they could do in this situation, and they are so privileged to have received the health care that they have. Overturning Roe v. Wade will not stop abortions in Ohio. It will not stop the women that I have helped or the other providers in the state help. It will cause them to take any necessary steps they need to end that pregnancy, to terminate it in any method they know. We already hear women express the ideas of how they could do this, and abortion is legal. What are they going to do when it's not legal? And what are they going to do when we're not there? Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. Now I'd like to introduce one of our champions, one of our most vocal champions in the State House, someone who has stood up every time this issue has come before the legislature and taken up the fight for our cause, and that's State Representative Dean Stewart.
Well, good afternoon. I'm here to share just some brief thoughts about the concerns that I and many share about the potential of the McCain-Palin administration and what that would do to reproductive freedom in the state of Ohio. It has been made clear to me that a number of legislators have come to the legislature with a anti-choice proactive position that has been fundamentally at the front of their election strategy and their legislative initiatives. While the state doesn't reflect that, certain areas of the state may, and it has brought to the legislature a number of advocates in the anti-choice category. And so it is obvious by positions that they've taken in not having full sets of hearings. I'm not only a co-sponsor of the Prevention First, but separately I am the sponsor of contraceptive equity. My thought being that if you can have your Viagra paid for by insurance and can be delivered the next day, via the internet, then family planning should. The birth control should be covered by your insurance company, as well as the CARE bill, the Compassionate Assistance for Rape Emergencies, that would provide emergency contraception in the ER. Yet, I have not been able to have one hearing on either of those 2 bills. A common sense approach that has allowed us to have dialogue out there in the communities and in the state, a common sense approach that would reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies and thereby potentially reducing the number of abortions. Yet, we can't get a hearing. There is sort of a lock, if you will, on leadership in the Ohio House and key members of the legislature that found themselves in position. So what it signifies to me is that we would be at risk of losing reproductive freedoms for women in the state of Ohio should a McCain administration reverse Roe v. Wade and send that decision back into the states. It is clear to me that those individuals in key positions in the General Assembly would push that agenda. We can see it by the numbers of, these are very, very motivated special interests who show up in these anti-choice hearings and make a great deal of noise and are very committed to their cause. However, it doesn't reflect the average Ohioan's view on this issue. It is, unfortunately, because of the way states and legislative districts are often gerrymandered, I think an unequal representation in the General Assembly. So it puts women at risk of losing reproductive freedom. Instead of having an option to discuss approaches to how we reduce unwanted pregnancies and thereby reduce the number of abortions, we will be facing serious consequences of making abortion illegal and criminally charging women and doctors in the state. And I think that would be devastating to the men and women of Ohio.
Just one thing I'd like to add to Representative Stewart's comments. Even after the first abortion ban was introduced during the last legislative session, and just NARAL activists, 35,000, sent in emails and phone calls telling the state legislature not to add the abortion ban as an amendment on another bill during the last lame duck session. Even after that, even after over 300 activists showed up at the hearing that was held on the abortion ban, still a bill was introduced again this session that would outlaw abortion. And I think that's a measure of the determination of these legislators to outlaw abortion in our state at the very first chance that they have. With that, I'll turn it back over to Kelly Conlon, who will introduce her now.
So as a result of the research via the Winning Message Action Fund, we have created a 30-second spot which is going to be playing in Ohio between now and Election Day.
John McCain and Sarah Palin want to overturn Roe v. Wade, which protects a woman's right to choose. If that happens, 21 states will immediately move to make abortion a crime. And women will be treated like criminals. What would John McCain do then? Winning Message Action Fund is responsible for the content of this ad.